In college, my friends and I got into martial arts movies. Every week, we'd get beer and pizza and watch a new movie. We were going through a list online of top martial arts movies with the best fight scenes to watch. One of those was Oldboy with its infamous hammer hallway fight scene. So we sit down excited for the thrill, the excitement of well choreographed movements and the tense vitality of the back and forth of a fight scene. Instead, 10 minutes into Oldboy, we have to pause and ask ourselves, is this really the movie we want to watch tonight? Because it is not what we expected. It is a brutal, heart-wrenching film with very grotesque ideas and themes, and it has become one of my favorite movies, but we had to make a decision there as we were there for a fun time. Is this the movie we want to watch tonight? And we did, sitting there in stunned horror, watching the terror unfold. This is Lanky Bird Reviews. And today we'll be looking at if Nitrokid is a deck-building martial arts roguelike that lives up to expectations. In deck-building games, you select cards that you get to add to your deck to expand and focus your strategies to make you better able to fight your opponents. What Nitrokid adds to the genre is some tactics, where movement, placement is really important for if you're going to survive. I like how after you select your first two cards, it puts you in the first room, which is basically like a opportunity for you to try out your kit a little bit before an actual serious encounter. Whenever you finish facing an encounter, you go back to this overhead map. This map allows you to select different types of encounters, whether that be an opportunity to heal, another fight, a boss fight. What I really like in Nitrokid compared to most other roguelike deck builders is the way you move through the map. You can select any of these three rows and move back and forth, really building out a strategy of how you're going to go through this floor, when you're going to fight an elite, when you're going to heal up. As long as you either go through the first or third row all the way to the end to reach the elevator and fight the boss, it doesn't matter what order you do things. Compare this to even Slay the Spire, which started this all. It's basically just three interchangeable lines that you get thrown down that you don't really get much of a say in, and it really doesn't matter because no matter what, you are just going down a trajectory where you'll have a couple fights and an opportunity to heal and maybe a boss. So the map is cool, but what are fights like in Nitrokid? Is there tension, drama, a fluidity and strategy, back and forth? I chose this fight in particular. It demonstrates the two main styles that we see in two of the characters in Nitrokid. A character who's fast and moving and lots of jabs, versus strength, constitution, forbearance. These are some key elements in what makes a fight scene engaging. The first character we'll discuss is Lee, based off of Bruce Lee. He has two major strategies, jab and burn. Jab is about putting out as many attacks as possible for low cost. Burn is, well, we'll talk about burn. One of his main strategies will be to get some punches in on everyone around him. That's one of the interesting things about this game is there's cards that will strike one particular opponent and cards that will strike everyone adjacent to you. And then he'll move to get out of the way of some of the attacks. Here I'm just moving so that I can lower the cost on Harry and use it again. Lots and lots of trying to get your cards low cost so that you can use them more. Jab is really strong and has a lot of support right out the gate. Most of your mods and cards and patches are going to draw you cards when you move, draw you cards when you jab, increase your jab strength, and just enable you to keep hitting hard. Unfortunately, what doesn't get the same support is burn. The burn synergy in Lee operates like most other pyro archetypes in deck building card games. There is a negative burn status that you add to both yourself and your enemies that will deal damage to you over time, and then you have cards that try and make the most of that while either generating shield or damage based off of how much burn you have, or generating effects dependent on how much burn your opponent has. The difference is that other games have this archetype built from the ground up, while in Nitrokid it feels like this burn strategy has been welded onto a chassis that really wasn't meant for it. It really doesn't feel like it has the support necessary to make it work. Or if it does, it's hidden behind unlocks, and this comes to my greatest gripe about this game, is that the unlocks are too sparse to get through. I like a game where every time you play it, no matter how far, you generally will unlock something, anything, even if it's one card, because that's what brings you back to dig even deeper into it again and again. But in this, even if you get to the very, like, almost to the last boss, it's not enough experience to get to the next unlock. And it really deters further play. It's why I haven't really played this game in 4 months, I think. There's not that incentive of having more to work with in the next go around to make it worth trying again. I don't want to try the same strategy again and again and again. I want to discover new things, and that doesn't happen when they drip feed unlocks this way. And I think it only feels so stingy because each of the card pools are so shallow. So it feels like you're begging for more content and more things to make these synergies that you're trying to put together actually work. It's also more noticeable with Lee because his 2 major themes don't really work well together. But we'll see with the next characters that the 2 different synergies that you can do, it's okay if you don't fully go into one or the other. They seem much better integrated. Jax is the next character you unlock, and I consider him to be the best designed in this game. Everything works together really well, but I think one of the reasons why he's so strong is just because he just deals damage. He is a hard hitter. He has a lot of ways to increase his strength, ways to defend himself. One of his major mechanics is his counter mechanic. People who punch him, he will punch them back. Another major mechanic is combo, and that's kind of hard to pull off. I think you need to unlock more support for it, honestly, again, and that issue again. But basically combo is you need to get your combo up by a number of punches that you get in, and then it allows you to reach a threshold for certain cards. Reality is, though, none of this really matters in the scheme of things, because what makes him tick is how much he can boost his strength, which I think exposes what actually is the major strategy in this game, is every character really ticks. The most successful I was ever with every character was when I had cards and patches that work together to just increase their raw damage. Jax is just the best at that. Look at this, 28 strength right here in this boss battle. Now for the last of our martial arts inspired characters.
What? Ah, shit, shoot him, shoot him, shoot him!
The other characters are such on-the-nose recreations of real-life people, but I have no idea who Kay is meant to be, which femme fatale. But nonetheless, she is definitely the most interesting of the characters, and I think it was bold of them to move in a direction away from the explicit martial arts theme. Her big conceit is that she has 2 stances. The stance she has, one of them is like a pistol, which gives her some mobility and some different moves, usually lower damage moves, and then like an assault rifle that she's not allowed to really move when she holds her assault rifle, but it deals bigger damage. That's the trade-off. It's fairly interesting. She interacts with the map, with the strategy and the tactics different than the other 2 characters entirely. And so I think she's the most fun to play. She's just the most technical. However, I did get into a really tough spot. This boss, this elite battle I'm showing you is probably the most frustrating experience I've had in a deck building game to date. I got locked into using my assault rifle against a enemy that is always evading you, but can still deal damage anywhere you are on the map, and this damage weakens you. And so I didn't have enough cards that switched me to a pistol state so I could move, which meant I had to just stay there in the same spot 3 rounds in a row while it was weakening me. And then by the time I was able to switch to my pistol, move, and attack it, it had dealt so much weakening status to me that I wasn't dealing any damage to it. That battle took me 8 minutes. It was infuriating. And I don't know if that says more about this game or me that this super janky character is the most fun to play. There's a lot of things that Nitrokid gets very right. I've talked about the map already. The Nitro abilities are fun and come in clutch when you really need them, though I do think that there are too few of them. I think another thing is whenever you get to the next floor, there's 3 floors in this, like most of these games. Whenever you get to the next floor, it automatically increases your energy. None of this having to take a cursed item where you get increased energy, but then also some major drawback. It knows that this is just part of the acceleration of the game, is increasing your energy. And it allows you to pull off bigger and cooler combos as the game continues, and that's really satisfying. I like the way that the events tell you exactly the result of the events. If the result is ever a patch, just take the patch. Patches are the permanent upgrades in this game, similar to artifacts in other deck builders. They give you strong passives for the rest of the game. If you're taking the patches that keep you alive and increase your strength at every opportunity, well, then the game's pretty much yours. Which led to the reality for me where every single game I was taking the same patches. Not just because I had found a secure strategy, but because those were the only ones available to me, really. I was ending every game with almost all of the patches I'd ever seen each time, which I think is indicative of something I've been touching on this whole time. There's a lot of games that are shallow but make up for it with breadth. They don't have a lot of card, they don't have a lot of internal synergies, but they make up for it with lots of different characters. I respect this game for having a few amount of characters, just 3, allowing them to focus, but it doesn't have the depth that suggests it should. This game is neither deep nor wide. This just isn't a game I can recommend, unfortunately. Even though the art is gorgeous, the music's great, it just feels half-baked, like a proof of concept almost, and not a full-fledged game to purchase. Which makes me sad. I don't do this because I like making like takedowns of games, especially games that like this isn't a very popular genre anyway. Like every game needs all the help it can get to even sell a good amount of copies, and that's not my intention here. I want to bring light to all the different games that are in this genre and coming out constantly. I do want to talk about what games tick and what like keeps them from working really well. There's also this element of I released a video looking at demos, and I was really excited about this, and I felt like it'd be improper to not do a follow-up where I talk about the reality of the game after hyping it up so much in the demo preview. Nitrokid did not meet my expectations in a very different way than Old Boy broke my expectations. And I think that was worth talking about. And we can keep that conversation going. If you have a burn deck that works, let me know, and I'll try it again. If there's things that you like or dislike about this game, like, yeah, jump in the comments and share. Look forward to more from me coming up. I have some cool video ideas that aren't just specific reviews or previews. I also have the last Steam Next Fest in the works here. See if I get that out. So yeah, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.
My friend.